Hi YouTube, this is Matt Macintosh, and in this video we're going to look at how you can go about skinning and rigging your character. So I've got an example character here. I've hidden the bone objects, and this is what the skeleton looks like. Just unhide the geometry again. So what you should be looking at doing when you're creating your characters is ensuring that you've got enough loopage to go around the joints and to ensure that they match up with the bones that you've created. There's no point in having an edge loop partway around the thigh if the movement's going to be in the knee. So ensure that that's kind of correct. What you then need to start doing is go to the skin modifier. I've kind of got it set up as a shortcut button here. We are going to add in the bones for this character now. So if you click on add, it gives you an option to be able to select any of the bones that you want to make use of. So you can shift select, or you can select the whole lot and then deselect the things that you don't want. We don't want any of the helpers such as the IK targets or the foot platforms. So I'm just deselecting those by pressing Control and then clicking on them. And I don't want this triangle. This will cause all sorts of problems, and you just don't want that in there. So once you're happy with that, click on select, and that's added it to your character. So now the process of kind of refining the skinning starts by doing a test. So what I'd be suggesting that you look at doing is finding yourself a range of motion file that you can apply to the character and just see how it deforms. So on this one, you can see that there's a few issues around here. There's a bit of kind of stretching on the stomach. If I just hide the bone objects, we can see it a little bit better on the mesh. So yeah, what you'd be looking at doing with this is identifying areas that need some additional work. So for example, the shoulder is too indented, it's too squished in places, the tummy is stretched. So if you go through your range of motion file, you can identify areas that could do with some additional work, such as on the hip. There's all sorts of stuff that needs fixing on this. So the way you go about doing that is turn on the edit envelopes area, turn on the edit vertices, and that allows you to actually select parts of the mesh. So if I was to select these two verts, I could actually start editing them now. And to do that, you make use of the weight tool. So this is really good for kind of giving generic numbers, and it shows you the weight that's applied to each of those verts. You get more control by using the weight table. So if you go to the options and go to show affected bones and then show selected vertices, it will give you information regarding which bones they use. You might also want to put show global, and this allows you to put all the verts in these specific columns with the same value. So that can be really useful for editing entire loops in one go. Okay, so what else might you need to do? Well, if you were to select two edges, if you've got a specific loop that goes around, you can click on this little loop button and it should select the rest of them in that loop. So this is where having quadded topology is a massive benefit. If you select the individual bones that are in your list, it will identify how much of a weighting it has applied to those verts. So even though this is part of the lower leg, it's still got some sort of influence from the bone in the thigh. It's slightly more relating to the lower leg, but we can adjust that by using this set weight button. So this adds 0.005 or 0.05 to each iteration that you click that little button. So you can alter the weighting of your character using those buttons. You can apply it as a 100% to that specific bone, so it follows it around no matter what. You might find that you want to kind of blend it a little bit, so you could potentially play around with the value a little bit. Let's say we put it at 100% at the moment. We want to blend it into that foot, so we'll add a little bit on there. But you can also try to automate the process a little bit as well by selecting some of these verts, and maybe you've clicked on it a few times. You can click this blend button and that will try to kind of get a reasonable value. It doesn't end up being a nice value of 0.5 or something along those lines. It'll end up being 0.566 or something like that. So if you're wanting to have distinct control over things, use the weight table. But there is also this paint weights option. So I'm just going to move that out of the way. Let's say that I start painting weights. What's happened here is that it's painting it onto the thigh, so you need to have the appropriate bone selected. But as we can see, I can start actually moving these parts around by using the paint weight tool. If you're finding it is too strong, you can use the max strength or minimum strength to indicate how much you want it to work to. So this will have a maximum of 0.05 applied to it. I can change the reticle size, and as you can see, that's 0.05 applied to those verts. Okay, so you need to be going over your characters, and basically any vert that you see acting in a weird way, you need to fix it. So I'm just going to show you that this is kind of the finished character with some animations working on it. And what I've done is I've basically done that process. I've gone over the character, and any frame where there's like verts sticking out or there's indentations, I've tried to fix it using the weighting tools. So you need to do that with your characters in order to ensure that you don't have stretching, you don't have points left behind, you don't have bones that are influencing other verts that shouldn't be. So as you can see from this, the tummy isn't as stretched as it was previously. There's not as much of an indentation in the back of his hip. So yeah, it's a case of slow progress, go over it and fix it. I hope that's clarified how to go about doing some skinning. If you're enjoying the content, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.